back with another film room. I did a film room on the Toronto game and talked about the Brooklyn game a little bit. Broadband NBA TV blocked it. I'm disputing it. See if they'll unblock it. They can keep the copyright claim. I don't care. But hopefully that video, I guess at worst it'll be 30 days, but hopefully they release it. I think they will. It's a reaction video or a commentary video. So I watched up until the third quarter. Wasn't a whole lot there. And then I didn't see this game live, so I noticed that we scored only 13 points in the fourth quarter. So I thought I'd just watch it live and break down what I see. From what I can tell or what I've heard, I've tried not to listen too much, but you know, the Washington game today, which I'll go over as well at some point, the offense is stuttering, man. A lot of the things I've been saying about our offense looks like it's coming to fruition in a bad way, which I don't like. A lot of things I said a lot of things in the Toronto game which you guys didn't see, so I'll have to maybe repeat myself a little bit on this one. A lot of what I went over in the Toronto game had to deal with Toronto double teaming us late in the fourth quarter, us not getting the ball to the middle of the floor, getting squeezed in the corner by the double team, and not attacking the defense in terms of getting out of that double team, and Kidd, again, not adjusting and giving the defense different looks and making them think and having a wrinkle or a second, third, even fourth option after Luka. Now, I understand Luka's Luka, right? And, I think one of the complaints about our team is that we don't really have like a second or third playmaker, which we have Dinwiddie. He was very good tonight against Washington. He was decent in this game from what I could tell from the stat line. But, in terms of an offense, right? You should be able to get guys looks. You should be able to get them in spots. One of the things I said in the Toronto game is, I coached elementary and junior high kids, a little bit of high school, but not too much. And, a lot of the times my teams were definitely outmatched and outgunned. But we won a lot of games based on play calling, offensive styles, reacting to what the defense gave us, and putting your players in spots that play to their strengths and putting them in spots that prevent them from making mistakes. And I know these guys are NBA players and they should be smart and their basketball IQ should be really high. I think sometimes you'd be surprised how many of these guys, I'm not saying they don't know basketball. Obviously they know basketball. They're in the NBA, but a lot of these guys are great athletes. They're just 6'5" to 6'9" guys who, are very skilled, very athletic, very good at what they do. But again, when it comes to this X's and O's thing, I think Jason Kidd is a little weak. I think he is weak in spots when we need buckets. I do not think he can squeeze offense out of a team of 5 players, no matter who they are. Now, one of the weird dichotomies with Carlisle was Carlisle could run an offense. He could squeeze offense out of just about anyone who was on the floor. The other side of that is that you had to have a high IQ. And a lot of times with these guys in the NBA and whatnot, they want to play styles. They want to just kind of be able to run and gun, more of a free-flowing. They don't want to have to think too much. And I think a good way of putting it is they don't really want to have to dissect the game, right? And so I think sometimes with Carlisle, it's kind of a weird dichotomy in that I think he is one of the better or best coaches in the league, or was, at least for us. I think he knows the X's and O's of an offense very well. On the flip side of that, he probably is pretty demanding with the playbook. And I'm not sure that translates well to today's game. Unfortunately, I don't think that's Carlisle's fault. But I think what we're going to see here in the fourth quarter, and I haven't watched the fourth quarter yet, and Mavs are up 1 heading into the fourth. You know, we only scored 13 points in the fourth quarter. I watched a little bit of the post game. Looks like Luka's a little frustrated, a little tired. I don't like that. I watched a little bit of the Washington game. I've been really busy trying to make some other videos for you guys and whatnot. Check out my Kobe video if you haven't yet. It's pretty good. Best Kobe video on the entire web, hands down. But let's watch this together. Hopefully that Toronto video gets released here in the next couple of days and whatnot. But let's see here what happens with the Mavs and why they struggle. So we're just going to watch it. I got my big pointer here to make things a little easier compared to my last videos. So we're just going to watch and react live. I'm just going to give my opinions live. I have a few notes I wanted to say before we get into the fourth quarter. We were up 34-24 with 9:45 to go in the second. We held Orlando again. I am very confident in our defense. I think in this game we held them to 94 total points. I think it was 87-94 was the final score. We held Orlando to 57 points through 5:50 in the third. We held them to 60 with 4:35 to go in the third. They scored 10 points in the last 3 minutes and 30 seconds in the third. And to me, again, I kind of sped through the first 3 quarters, but to me, that might, again, we're going to get into the fourth, but that was a big part of it. And the reason why I say that was a big part of it is that this game was very herky-jerky. I don't really know what to call it, but it just didn't have a good flow to it. It seemed like a lot of start and stops, people not really being able to put 4, 5, 6 good plays together. And so for Orlando to end the third in the way that they did, I think probably is going to be a big momentum push going into the fourth. That's why I kind of think that might have been a big part of what we're about to see here, and I wanted to bring that up, that Orlando closed out the third very well. Again, a lot of times how you begin and end quarters can make or break a game. So let's go ahead and watch the video. And I'm going to resize this. I don't like this. Shooting the ball. Okay, so here we go. Fourth quarter, Magic get the ball. I'm going to put this on 1 1/4 speed, just so you guys are aware. Just too many turnovers, 17-5. I'm not going to focus too much on our defense, also, just so you guys know. Okay, here we go. I'm not going to pay too much too much attention to our defense. A good quote that I remember I had when I played, and it's very true, is, kind of going back to manufacturing offense. That's why, breaking down a defense, at least on film, isn't kind of, I don't think, as difficult or requires as much like processing as breaking down or trying to understand what you can do on offense. But a good quote I always heard is, it's possible for your offense to be off in terms of, if you have an off night. It's much less likely that your defense should be off, but your energy should never be off. And I only bring that up to say that, defense is a lot about energy and sort of just position. It's not necessarily, breaking down defense is kind of easy on film. It's just a guy's not being in the right spot kind of thing. Breaking down an offense has a lot to do with how you're setting up, the decisions you make, the options you have, the play before the play, the pass before the pass, that kind of thing. So me personally, just so you guys know going forward, is I'm mainly just going to be breaking down our offense. Again, I have a lot of faith in our defense. I think it's going to be fine. I think we have guys who bring good energy on defense, Luka included this year. So I'm just so everyone's aware, when I say I'm not going to break down our defense, it's not that it doesn't matter. It's just we scored 13 points in the fourth quarter, so that's what we're going to focus on right now.
Opportunities. Both teams doing a really good job on the defensive glass.
Boss had a good look, but a short jumper in and out. Dinwiddie will handle it. They're going to give Doncic a breather to start this fourth quarter. So the ball in the hands of.
I'm already pissed. So I understand they're trying to get McGee the ball down here. And so from what I can tell, again, one of the things I don't like about our offense too, that I've stated in some of the other videos, is we settle for threes. It's different if you run an offense and part of the wrinkle or the play is to get a three in the corner or something like that. But this whole ISO dribbling, we don't get what we want, so we just kind of sauce it up and shoot a three. I absolutely despise that. Now, they're obviously doubling McGee here. And so one of the things you can do against something like that is McGee can set back screens for people. And the reason why you do this, okay, McGee gets doubled, right? Let's say he comes over and sets a back screen to this guy, and Hardaway uses it, runs baseline, and comes over here to the corner. These are kind of the simple things that I don't understand why we don't do more simple things like that. Even if the defense completely rotates perfectly and covers it, it's at least something else besides just. It looked like really all we did was set a pick and roll. It wasn't there. They switched, which duh, right? And we try to get McGee a post. They deny the entry pass, and then that's it. That's it. That's the beginning, middle, and end of our offensive set here. And so I understand there's 6 seconds on the clock, but again, if we know that we can get in a few rotations of offense, a few revolutions on offense, why guys aren't setting more picks away from the ball? I don't get that. Setting picks away from the ball is one of the best and easiest ways to get guys looks and get them open and to confuse the defense and make them think. A pick and roll on the ball is easy to dissect as a defender, or at least to see it coming and know what your responsibilities are. McGee coming and setting a back pick on one of these guys here, they're already doubling McGee in the post, so Green is open. That leaves Green with sort of some options here. Let's say he were to set a back pick here, Hardaway cuts and goes baseline. Hardaway might be open, which Hardaway's a good shooter, so again, we'll take that. If this guy wants to stay here and rotate on Green, and or Hardaway then comes around and this guy picks him up, we can look at McGee again. We can look at McGee again if those guys have to rotate over again, because they have to respect the back pick. They have to respect the role, the guy running baseline. Green probably here could flash high post. Maxey could set a screen for somebody. There's just nothing to this offense, and it's driving me crazy. Now, Dinwiddie had himself a night, so.
He's having a night, isn't he? Yes.
Well, what that guy just said.
Coming off last game, David, against Brooklyn, he was 1 of 8.
Hooking, missed the shot, and Dinwiddie has the rebound. He'll pull up and shoot for 3.
I don't. I say this as someone who was a bit of a shooter myself. You can get a 3 anytime you want. Almost any time we can get a 3. So maybe that was a heat check by Dinwiddie, I understand, but you can also get a heat check with 5 to 10 seconds left on the shot clock. And I brought this up in the Toronto game, and I know you guys haven't seen that video, but when you are up in the fourth quarter especially, you do what I call the Utah Jazz playbook. What John Stockton and Karl Malone and Jeff Hornacek and those guys used to do, and that is you are trying to milk every second off the shot clock. You are trying to take the number of possessions from here to here. You are trying to anaconda squeeze them to death in terms of clock management.
Dinwiddie with a little heat check there.
So this is a bit of like a 3-man weave they just did here, sort of. Again, all it takes is another pick or two, right? Maybe we can break down Orlando's offense too. That might help. So if you notice, last time we came down the court, Dinwiddie and McGee set a pick, and then that was it. That was it, nothing more. So here Orlando's going to do the same. Easy switch. What do? Now, I know that doesn't look like much, right? But simply just giving another pick off the ball like that, you have Tim Hardaway Jr. and Green now are sucking in on the ball. Just like that. I mean, it's really not that difficult sometimes. It's just ball movement. You know, like, I don't know how many guys go play pickup ball, but the most basic thing you can do is just run around and set picks. If you can't shoot, you can't dribble, you're just there for a workout or whatever, you just like to play ball, just go set picks like a madman. Almost always something good will come of it. It will get someone open. It will set up the pass before the pass. It will cause confusion. You know, guys won't switch right. Guys won't see the back cut. Guys won't talk and communicate to each other, letting them know a pick's coming. The guy who gets picked gets confused for a second. The second defender kind of has to help him out. Now it's just the most baseline thing you can do.
A lot of attention. Really sagging in there, keeping him out of the paint. Good kick out to Bamba.
Dinwiddie's going to call for the pick.
77.
Again, everyone else just standing around.
76.
Why doesn't Tim Hardaway go set a pick over here? Why doesn't Green come baseline instead of it's just not that difficult. So he's got the mismatch. Thank you. Some of the things I've also said is if you get that mismatch, we talked about that in the Pelicans game. Dinwiddie gets a mismatch, attack it. Don't just sit out there and play with the ball and wait for the shot clock to get down to 4 seconds. If you got a mismatch with a guy like that on you for Dinwiddie, that should be a bucket all day. That should be an easy drive.
Himself quite a night, 25 in the game. That is a
Orlando's going to set the pick here. That's just bad defense. That's a little too easy.
Nice read. No way McGee was going to be able to kick out to Bamba.
Spencer Dinwiddie having himself quite a night, 25 in the
Just want to look at this again. There was slight hesitation there by McGee because this kind of a nice play. This is a bit of a slip screen. He doesn't really even set a screen, and he starts to roll to the basket before the switch can even occur.
That is a season high for
So that's actually a very nice screen. That's a nice little slip screen there. The is a Wagner. Wagner here kind of going a little higher than probably what Green expected him to do. Created a lot of space. McGee for a split second has to respect it.
Wagner comes back. Not as flashy, but it still counts two.
Absolutely. Nice read.
79-78.
Double screen.
Dinwiddie trapped in midcourt. The Magic taking the ball
See,
out of his hand.
this is something, again, I know the Toronto review hasn't come out yet, the film room. But this is what I've seen teams do this a lot against the Mavericks, specifically Luka. And there's two things we're doing here, and that is the ball handler needs to stop dribbling himself into the corner. I don't understand why we're doing that. It just makes zero sense to me. Even on the Brooklyn game, they did it too. They were setting like a pick like right here where the center is, where the word center is. And they were trying to have the ball handler tightrope down in between that off the pick. And, you know, for anyone who's played sports, the out-of-bounds line is another defender, essentially. And I didn't understand that. In the Toronto game, we were setting picks like up over here in the corner, and Luka was having to make these extremely highly difficult passes, which, you know, night in, night out, that's not going to work every time. And dribbling yourself into a corner, it makes no sense to me what we're thinking with that. Now, the second thing I was saying or I pointed out with the Toronto game.
79-78.
So this is on Dinwiddie here. This is, again, Dinwiddie, this is why I'm saying Dinwiddie needs to be aggressive, because that's what he's good at. In terms of being a point guard, in sort of situational awareness, like without having to, without being a scorer, when it comes to not being a scorer, I have some doubts about Dinwiddie. And again, this is kid, needs to understand his personnel and what we're doing. But again, no one's really helping him. But the proper move that I was talking about in the Toronto game to break a double is to get right here in the middle of the floor. Breaking a double is just like breaking a press. You have to get it to the middle of the floor and attack. Immediately when that double came, Dinwiddie should have dumped it off to McGee. McGee should turn around. He's trying to get on Sports Center, as I like to say. He's trying to slam it down your throat. He's trying to one dribble it, and he's taking off. And I don't know what it is with the Mavericks. I see them do this a lot, but they seem to be very stuck on just wanting to swing the ball around. And we don't really seem to be focused on attacking the middle of the floor. You know, this is one of the things I pointed out with Carlisle and Dirk. Dirk would get the ball on that pin post free throw line extended area, and from there, everyone knew what to do in terms of playing off of Dirk. If a double came, you know, things like that, the kick out, the roll to Chandler, the dump down, etc., right? Even a drive and kick or something of that nature. You get the ball in the middle of the floor, somewhere like that, it's the defense, it's a very vulnerable spot for the defense if you can exploit it. You have all the floor open to you, you have all your options, and for whatever reason, the Mavs seem very stuck on just swinging the ball around the three-point line, which is fine to a point. But that also gives the defense time to recover. It's pretty predictable. I think it's easier to defend than trying to get the ball to the middle of the floor and doing it that way. And why this isn't an immediate dump to McGee right here, I don't understand that. I mean, you have to understand, McGee gets the ball, if we were to go back just 1 or 2 seconds, McGee gets the ball right here. This guy's a little further down. McGee turns, and I don't understand how you're going to stop that as a defense. This guy's right here is going to have to take McGee. Maxi's going to have a wide open three in the corner. I'll live with that. Maxi's a decent shooter, and he's going to be wide open. And this is one of the things with the Mavericks I just don't understand is attacking the middle of the floor. They just seem completely immune to it, especially with their passing. And defenses are doubling a lot on the Mavericks because mainly it's Luka, right? So to double Luka is pretty obvious if you're looking at the Mavericks' offensive options. It's very obvious you take away Luka and you'll live with that. And you can do the same thing when Luka's not on the floor because we do not have a lot of good ball handlers and guys who can get their own shot. So do the same thing to Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie had a great night. I think he had like 29 points or something like that. He had a great efficiency night. But this was a bad move here on his part.
Trapped in midcourt, the Magic taking the ball out of his hands. He'll take a timeout. Large crowd. Magic and the Maverick, Minnesota. That round. All game. Dinwiddie on the attack.
Missed what happened here.
Dallas Mavericks, a 4-game win streak coming into tonight's game. Dinwiddie on the attack.
I'm still okay with that. I'm still okay with that. Again, he's got the big man, the mismatch on it. Attack it. You know, Dinwiddie going to the hole, he's going to get a call most of the time, I would think. Or he's going to get a dunk like he did earlier, or some kind of layup.
Don't stand there. Moving forward, went straight up. Making that a difficult shot.
See, Orlando's going to set a pick here off the ball. I don't know if I've seen Dallas do that all year. I'm probably being a little facetious there and over-exaggerating, but I haven't seen Dallas set any off-ball screens, it feels like.
Magic trying to take the lead. Ross drawing the crowd.
You see, oh man, this is so frustrating. Sometimes you have to understand that, I brought this up with Carlisle and Dirk, you know, people say, oh, it's easy, just get Dirk the ball, right? A lot of times Carlisle gets Dirk the ball to suck you into Dirk, to make your attention come to Dirk because you have to respect it. We should be doing that with Luka more instead of just saying, here, Luka, go one-on-one, or pick and roll and go one-on-one. You know, a lot of times getting Dirk the ball is not about getting Dirk the ball. It's about the things that are going on around Dirk that the defense. One of the things Dirk never got a lot of credit for, and obviously being 7 foot helps, he was a great passer out of the double team in terms of making the right pass. It doesn't mean he was always catching guys for alley-oops and stuff, but Dirk, almost, you know, he didn't get credit for this, and he really should. And obviously, again, I'll say it one more time, being 7 foot helps to look over the double team, but he would almost always make the correct pass, and that pass was then going somewhere else. Whether it be a swing, whether it's a kick out to the wing and a guy's coming back door or something, right? Just something, again, I call them wrinkles, these kind of the plays within your play. That is kind of what I'm talking about with our offense and why we don't do that. And so let's look at what Orlando does here again.
I like what Mobamba did right here, David. Look, he's not moving forward. Straight up.
So this is also, man, I could talk all day about basketball. This is also something I brought up in the Toronto video that's blocked, but I call it the Allen Iverson thing, and that is, you know, Allen Iverson, they always had Allen Iverson bring the ball up. And I know he's technically a point guard, he should do that, but he's really a scoring guard is what he was. And, you know, they would just hound Iverson full court. They would wear him out. He would have to do so much work just to get the ball up the floor. Then he'd have to go into his offense, right? Same thing with Luka. I don't understand why we don't have someone else bring the ball up. Let Luka take his time. We're not in a rush. And then let's get Luka coming up to the ball or cutting somewhere or getting it in the post. Luka's so versatile that he doesn't have to bring the ball up every time. And I think honestly it's frustrating him a little bit. You know, I didn't like playing point guard really. I liked playing two guard though, I can tell you that. And so I think Luka is more of that mindset. He's not a point guard, you know, mentally. I don't think that's really I don't think that's his thought process. He's a scorer. He wants to score. Let him not expend energy trying to bring the ball up every time. Let's get him in a spot. Let's let him flash up to the ball or get some kind of switch in the post, some kind of you know, maybe a little triangle movement or something with someone else in the post. It doesn't always have to be Luka come down, ISO, or pick and roll. So here we're also going to see, right, Orlando technically will call that a pick. That's one sort of movement. They're going to set another pick. They're going to go set another pick. Now, this is also something I don't see Dallas do a whole lot, because whenever teams double Dallas, it's almost always from going underneath the pick. Once you come over the top like this, you're exposed as a defense in a way. Essentially now Orlando's trying to play 4-on-5. This guy's going to come down the lane. Someone's going to have to pick him up. I mean, Tim Hardaway's coming over the top, and someone's going to have to pick up the ball handler. McGee's got a shade. Green shades. Maxey is having to worry about the guy rolling to the basket. If Maxey doesn't come over and pick this guy up, that's an alley-oop dunk to the big man. I mean, it's just frustrating because, you know, again, shout out to Slightly Biased. I pop in the Slightly Biased chat sometimes and whatnot. But, you know, I hear a lot that, like, well, we don't have the horses or we don't have good offensive players. And that's kind of why I go back to that quote that I sort of said, and that is, offense can be manufactured. That's what I try to get the point across with Carlisle. Carlisle will squeeze as much offense out of an average team, probably better than anybody, in terms of an X's and O's point of view. You have to be high IQ. Maybe that's one of the reasons people didn't like Carlisle for some reason. But in terms of players, but you have to be a little high IQ to play for Carlisle, but the X's and O's are there, and he's going to get you good looks. He's going to get good offense. This was about as simple as a play call as you get. Guy brings the ball down the floor. Wing comes to meet him. The ball handler is using his body as a pick. Now the guy who's now at the top of the key has a big man come set a pick for him. He passes. He picks away for another pick. That guy's coming around, getting a pick from the big man again. And now you have two guys going to the hole. Tim Hardaway Jr. has to come over the top. And everyone has to collapse in on the big man and the guard coming around the pick. And this guy is wide open. This is almost like the previous play with Maxey. If had the ball been dumped to McGee in the middle of the floor in the free throw line and the top of the key area here, Maxey was wide open for the dish out in the corner. Although he missed it, that's still a good shot, right? Your job as a coach is to get your guys good shots. Now let's see what the Mavs do. Nothing. It's just, this is so boring. This is just so irritating to watch. Man, kid, you have got to hit me up, bro. This is just embarrassing offense to watch. I haven't seen this yet, by the way. I'm totally watching this for the first time. You know, Kid frustrates me so much, bro. I don't like Kid as an offensive play calling coach.
That's only 5 turnovers for Dallas in the game.
Gonna take advantage.
I mean, a simple pass, pick away motion offense is 20 times superior to this, and that's about a high school level offense, junior high maybe even. So we'll see what this guy does here. They're going to run the same play. Same play, but except they're doing it with the big man now, or at least their forward, I think. Again, they're going to have... This is really their ball handler here. This is what I wish we would do with Lucas sometimes. Not there. A good denial by... Good denial by Dinwiddie. So the guy has to go backdoor. But look, Orlando doesn't even miss a beat, right? Okay, then let's have the other guard come around. This is what I mean by wrinkles and options. The first option was to this guy. He got denied, and so he had to go and clear out backdoor or go clear out baseline. And without missing a beat, they are already setting another screen. Now, a little bit of a broken play here, right? So just got to do what you can. That's okay. But you can see the motion that Orlando has going for them.
Came over to help McGee in the paint, forcing a kick out.
Still protects a 1-point advantage.
What are we gonna do? I think we're gonna run a double pick. Nope, just Hardaway.
Tim Hardaway Jr. McGee follows it in.
Now, again, this is one of those things you have to separate the scoring from the offense that was run. Yes, McGee got this offensive rebound, right? But that wasn't a play call. Tim Hardaway Jr. didn't really get a good look. He was 4 or 5 feet behind the three-point line. All right, look, double screen away from the ball. The running, this is a simple 3-man weave up here. Like, that's really what they're doing. The Orlando Magic have already set 4 screens, right? They've already set 4 screens. I don't think away from the ball, by the way, or at least 2 or 3 of them were off the ball. The Mavericks haven't set 3 off-ball screens all year.
Or rather, Ross and Hardaway. 2 veteran subs, or rather, Ross and Hardaway.
Again, this might be hard to see, I guess, if you're not kind of paying attention.
That's a big play. The Magic have done a great job.
So, just sort of have to see the setup here. These 2 guys are going to come set a double screen for this guard. Hardaway Jr. goes over the top on the first, over the top on the second, or chases. Hardaway Jr. is going to go over the top again. Again, just like the last time. You come over the top, you're now kind of playing 4-on-5 for a very brief second, and you're leaving You're leaving your McGee here, which McGee's a good interior defender, but on a pick and roll, you know, him having to guard the roller and the guard coming over the top is not an easy task for him. So McGee's had to come over now because Hardaway went over the top. The big man's open. The big man's going to roll. He's going to roll hard and fast. Maxey has to respect that. Again, an open look in the three, or at least he was open in the corner. Again, a bit of a broken, or not broken, but you could see the wrinkle and the things that they were trying to do. They got that same look in the corner. We recovered okay.
A lot of second chance points for Dallas. Two veteran subs, or rather.
So Maxey's, again, got to respect the roller. Green's recovering. This is now the play. That's a good rotation there by defense, or by our defense. Nice switch by Maxey and Green to pick that up. So now it's 7 seconds on the clock. As a defense, this is where you've done your job. Now just play good defense. And unfortunately, they hit the shot here, but this is better defense on our part. And again, but I just want people to see the motion and the creativity that I would say almost any average NBA team does compared to what the Mavericks do on offense. People are standing around. There is no second, third, fourth option or wrinkle or look. There's no revolution to the offense.
Shot clock down to 5. The fake, Carter along 2.
It's okay, D. I'm not too mad about that. And this is another part with the Mavs and late in games why I think we're getting in so much trouble. It's partly, I've said this before, it's partly, I've said before, I'd like Luka to get guys going early instead of late. Mainly because, again, if you get guys, if Luka jumps out to these hot starts, right? And, guys are feeling the flow out, they're feeling out the refs, what are they calling? They don't want to get in early foul trouble. And so Luka gets out to these hot starts a lot of the time, which is fine. But I wish he would try to get guys involved earlier. And, everyone's heard about the hot hand in basketball. Getting guys going earlier, A, will pay dividends later in the game. But B, as the game progresses, and let's say he was able to get Tim Hardaway Jr. going, and Dinwiddie's having a good night. Now we have Luka and two other guys who have gotten in a rhythm, have gotten some shots up. That alleviates so much pressure. And these last two shots by Hardaway right here, right? Those two quick trigger threes, and Dinwiddie had one too, I think is a little bit of frustration. Like they haven't got it going yet. Luka's on the bench. They can feel the pressure that they need to score a little bit. And I think a lot of that comes with the fact that they haven't found their rhythm yet, and they're trying to find it now. Well, the fourth quarter is not the best time to be trying to find your groove. You know what I mean? I understand these guys are NBA players. They should be able to score at any time. But, Luka, I think, really needs to focus on getting other guys going. I think over the course of a season and in a game, that will take a lot of pressure off him physically and mentally. I think he will not have to waste so much energy early on also, and he can have more energy later on when we need him. And one thing that Charles always said about Dirk that I didn't agree with at first, but it's true. Dirk would have 30 points, but he'd have 25 of them before the fourth quarter. We need Luka in the fourth to put games away. And when he's expended as much energy as he has, when he's, essentially having to put the team on his back and other guys haven't got going yet, to then in the fourth ask him to be like, well, fourth quarter, we need you to take it up even another level, and we hope some of these other guys are hitting shots. That's just, that doesn't play out in the long term over a season. That's not gonna work.
And out for three. Baba collects the rebound.
Two pretty good looks for Hardaway.
Ross, Harris, jumper in and out. out of bounds.
I don't know why he decided to. I guess he felt like he had a mismatch there.
Two pretty good looks for
I'm not sure if this is something that they look for, but maybe having their big man trail so late, or if he is trailing late, maybe the cue is try to take your man off the dribble and get to the lane. That might largely be what he's thinking. It's just, no McGee in the lane, I'm going to go. Good recovery by McGee, though. Good help by McGee. I also said this about McGee in the Toronto video. He is a playoff matchup kind of guy. A lot of guys are hating on him right now, and I understand he's not doing so good. He, to me, is not a 82-game regular season kind of player. I think him being our starter, I don't really like that. I don't know why we promised that to him at the beginning of the year, and I hope that's not causing a rift now. But the example I gave is, what if we played Minnesota in the first round, just as an example. If you could just tell McGee to just go get a butt on Gobert, and that's all he has to do is keep him off the glass, McGee is invaluable in that situation. But in a guard-heavy, fast-paced 82-game season, McGee is a guy who needs to come off the bench and give you some energy, give you some blocks, some rebounds, and catch some oops. And having him as a starter, I think, is a big mismatch problem for us. But I like McGee. I think people are giving him a bit of a hard time right now. McGee is fine. McGee will pay dividends later.
He's a shooter. Saw him. He got some distance.
Caleb Houston inbounds it to Ross. Bamba fakes the three, and he's fouled by McGee. That's a good fake and go.
Simple, just taking him off the drive.
Second foul on McGee, second team
on the floor.
in for JaVale McGee. Jalen Suggs looking to inbound. Comes into OKK, back to Suggs.
So we got a pick here.
Suggs attacking, and he's fouled. That's 3 team fouls on Dallas.
Another foul. Had about 8 seconds there, so probably you just got to go.
Plays tomorrow night up in Washington. If they can get there.
If they can get there. They've got an interesting route they're going to take.
See, this is so simple, and it's just way more than what we're even doing. Simple pick.
Interesting.
Guy's going to cut. I mean, that's what I mean when I talk about backdoor cuts or just cutting along the baseline. It's really this simple. You're just trying to get the defense to move around, to make a mistake, to hesitate for 1 second. Look at Maxey. Maxey, you understand, like, I don't know how many of you guys ever play football. It's the same thing in basketball, though, but, like, you want your hips squared up facing your defender, right? I mean, you got to move horizontally. The moment you have to go turn, you're probably out of position and you're chasing, and probably is not going to be good. So see, they made the Mavericks do a switch here.
Here's a three by Caleb Houston.
Now, that might not seem like a lot, right? That was nothing. We're talking about NBA players here who just need a little bit of daylight to get a shot off. This guy goes backdoor. Maxey is late, so they switch. But simply, remember what I said, as soon as he turns his hips, it means he's probably beat. He's probably out of position. For an NBA player, this right here, that's open. That's catch and shoot. He even fumbled the ball and still got the shot off. Okay, so just looking at what Orlando has done, right? 1, 2, 3, and a pick. I mean, I brought this up in the Toronto game, right? That I think a lot of the times the problems with, like, great players, and Kidd was a great player, and this kind of goes back to when Magic Johnson was a coach. I think a lot of the things that, if I remember right, I could be wrong, but when it came to Magic, I think he was not so good with the X's and O's either as a coach. Again, Magic was a 6'9" point guard running around like a monster, just dominating the game, right? There's not a whole lot of thinking with that. It's a lot of instinctual athleticism and knowing where your teammates are going to be. I have a feeling Kidd is a little bit of the same way. I feel like a lot of his explanation is to just do. Like, oh, well, I was a player, just do, right? And you look at someone like Carlisle, he was an okay player, a good player, but he probably had to get a little deeper into the game to make it to the NBA and be good and set himself up in good spots to help his teammates out, etc., right? Which I feel like I fall in that boat a little bit too. I'm not athletic at all. I can't jump. I'm not fast. But you have to have some kind of understanding of the game to see the play before the play a little bit, to get guys who are better than you, to get them doing something else so that you can react and attack that, and to get a little bit of a second, third, fourth layer understanding of what's going on. And I feel like with Kidd, it's just like, we'll just attack the basket and look for the dish, right? Like, as a player, you were able to do that, but we're talking about trying to implement a set of plays or a revolution of offense with 5 different guys, right? It's not just you as a player who did stuff and created. We're talking about trying to manufacture offense with 5 players on the floor. That doesn't really translate very well, in my opinion. So that's really nothing. Pick, roll, just a simple dish. It's not there. Okay, set it back up. Now, that's fine. This is what I talk about, where if you go, or if you run a play call, you can get another revolution of offense in. So my problem is that the offense that we're running isn't very good. But Green and Hardaway have not moved. Powell did a simple roll to the basket. Nothing, same thing we've seen 100 times already. He just did a dish out to Maxey. Wasn't there. Now we're just starting over. What are we doing? Okay, now it's just ISO. And again, with guys like Luka and Dinwiddie, it's not that they can't do this, right? But I've said it before. Defenses will begin to break you down, especially the coach on the other side. They will pick up on your tendencies. They will pick up on, okay, first of all, they know the pick and roll is coming, and then after that, nothing's going to go on, so far from what I've seen. So whenever it goes out to Maxey and then back to Dinwiddie, that defender knows Dinwiddie's about to go. Dinwiddie is the option. Dinwiddie's going to go. No one's coming to set another pick. There's 7, 8, 9 seconds on the shot clock. This is it. It's a one-on-one game now, right? The defense is not having to think. And there's nothing better as a defender, especially me, I can tell you personally, there's nothing better as a defender when you don't have to think about what everyone else is doing on offense. You don't have to worry about a guy setting a back screen on your blind side or something like that. Or you don't have to worry about, guys doing something creative or another wrinkle or something you haven't seen before, or the second, third, fourth pick you have to fight through, right? Reggie Miller's a good example. He was their best offensive player, and Reggie Miller would just run like a dog on the baseline through 2, 3, sometimes 4 picks, and he'd get 10 feet of space to shoot a 3. That's pretty simple, and we can't even do that, it feels like.
He wanted to pass that too. Good help on the other side. No avenue.
So this right here, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Last play, we had Green and Hardaway Jr. just standing on the corner. They don't do anything. As a defender, right, if we're playing man-to-man defense, you're going to sit out there on the wing, and kind of the rule is, for every pass that the ball is away, you take a step in, you sag, right? And so if you know your guy is never going to move, you're not having to think. It's really easy to just play instinctual defense, just react to what the offense is doing. This right here is nothing more than just a guy cutting, guy coming up top. And it is at least making the defense do something. It's opening up some space. It's moving guys around. There's probably going to be another wrinkle to this coming up. So it looked like just a little bit of miscommunication there. But just notice this. What they do here, not even a two-man game. It's not even a two-man game, but Two's going to cut and clear out, and 31's going to be here. We don't even do that. We don't even do that. Just the most basic stuff. And I think 31 here, again, he's halfway right what 31's trying to do. Because, again, Green, right? Green now went from, look how open the side of the floor is. This is something I was talking about with Carlisle and Dirk. There's something that they're trying to do here. That look how open the side of the floor is now. And so I'm assuming 31's it just looks like a little bit of mistiming there. So I mean, good read by Tim Hardaway Jr. as well though to cover him and deny him. And again, Green's here. If this were to happen, right? If let's say 11 got the ball, let's just say right here or something. You now have a 3-on-2 going on over here. Now, what the Magic may or may not have done with that, I'm not sure. But they also have the mismatch here if 11 did get the ball and Tim Hardaway Jr. And again, this is like Dirk with the mismatch. 11 gets the ball right here with Tim Hardaway Jr. on him. What is the defense gonna do? You can't leave Tim Hardaway Jr. one-on-one with this guy. He's just gonna back him down and bully ball him to the hole, which means now you have to double him. Orlando is then, I'm almost guarantee you, Orlando has something for that double team if it comes. You understand? It's not so much they're trying to get 11 the ball. They're trying to get 11 the ball in a certain spot. Like I was saying, you want guys in spots where they know what they're looking for. And or I guarantee you, I'd put money on it that Orlando had another wrinkle going on over here that was going to play off that double team. So just a little bit of mistiming there, and good heads-up play by Tim Hardaway to make them hesitate for a second. It also looked like 11 was turned inside to roll to the basket instead of turning outside to catch for the back to the basket on like the free throw line extended area. That's an easy fix. You know, that's just a miscommunication, mistiming.
Going to pass it to him on a little in the air. Yep. Don't have time to adjust. 18.
All right, something a little different. Yep. Powell's going to set the pick. Now, because number 4 has to come over the top here, this guy who was guarding Bullock, maybe this is part of their plan, I'm not sure, but this guy aggressively is coming out on Dinwiddie. 11 here is going to have to deal with Powell and Bullock. So 11 looks like he wanted to recover for Powell. 4 now is trying to rush over to Bullock. Decent recovery, but now Green is obviously going to be open. No, okay, they recover. That still wasn't that creative, but it's at least something different, for the love of God. Do you see what I'm saying here? Orlando is moving guys all around all the time, creating mismatches, creating the defense has to switch. They got to chase you. Also, I think this goes back to Luka expending a lot of energy, not necessarily specifically Luka for this example, but you're not making the defense work, right? A lot about, one of the things you learn also being an offensive guy is moving the ball around and cutting and whatnot makes the defense expend energy, right? Which I know the flip side is you got to expend a little energy too, but if on offense you're not at least moving the ball around, right? At least swinging the ball around to make the defense work. Again, I talked about how if they're playing a man-to-man, which essentially everyone in the NBA does, they're going to sag a little bit. The further the ball is away, they will sag to help a little bit, right? Well, if you swing the ball around, they at least have to come up and, fall back and sag, come back up, fall back and sag, come back up. They're at least having to expend some energy just simply by you swinging the ball around a little bit. We don't even swing the ball around. It's just pick and roll ISOs all day. No one's cutting. It's just, I hate to say this, but I think Jason Kidd and the Dallas Mavericks may be the worst offensive play calling and offensive running team in the NBA. And, I hate to say that about my own team, but Luka is essentially 99% of what we do. And, Dinwiddie can go off. Tim Hardaway can hit some threes. But in terms of an offensive unit as a team, I'm just not impressed, man. It's really frustrating to watch. And I don't even remember it being this bad last year. Maybe I just didn't pay attention enough. I was just kind of caught up in the whole playoff run. And I hadn't started, like doing a YouTube channel like this per se. And like really paying attention, but I guess I don't even remember it being this bad last year. Again, the double teams. Another thing that's really frustrating. I'm sorry, these videos go really long, and so I'm sorry I paused it a lot and whatnot. But there's a lot here. What's also so frustrating is that if I played the Mavericks and Luka wasn't on the floor, I wouldn't double. I'd make Dinwiddie beat me. I'd put my best defender on Dinwiddie. I would tell them, look, they're gonna run this pick and roll. If it doesn't work, Dinwiddie's gonna go to the hole. He's gonna pull up for a three. Like, just do your best. I mean, I think we'll win that matchup over a long enough time. And Dinwiddie's gonna get a little tired too. I'll throw bodies at him all day. The defense coming to double you is actually doing you a favor if you are a struggling offensive team. They're doing it with 5 seconds to go, so that's probably what they're doing here. They're trying to blitz them a little bit, which now makes more sense. But one thing I brought up in the Toronto game is that we have, the double team comes, someone should be in the middle of the floor. Bullock should not be running towards Dinwiddie. He should be running to right here. He doesn't. This is what I'm talking about. Dinwiddie's not a point guard. Dinwiddie is a scorer. He's not. Powell. Good job by Powell going to the middle. Again, Powell shooting a turnaround 16, 18-footer is not what we want. We want Powell to get the ball here, one dribble, and he's trying to put you on a poster, which Powell is more than capable of doing. I don't care if number 11's in the way or not. Want Powell going to the basket and either dunking it or looking for the dish. And Dinwiddie, 5 seconds to go, and again, he backs out to this corner over here. Dinwiddie, again, the IQ of this team offensively, I hate to put it that way. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to use a term. The offensive IQ of this team seems lacking, mainly Jason Kidd, but that's just my opinion. I know for whatever reason, a lot of Mavericks fans are high on Jason Kidd. I am not. I think he's a good matchup and lineup coach in a way. Even that I don't really think he's too good at. But he's more of an overarching styles coach, right? But he's not a good play caller. He's not a good offensive set guy. He's not a good in spots reacting to what the defense is doing kind of coach. Doncic is at the table and Wagner is at the table. I would like to see Luka go to the bench at the end of the third instead of early in the fourth. With the clock ticking, 5:24 to play. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. So let's see what they do here. So big man here, gonna try to get some confusion over here on the screen. Big man's gonna come up. Now, this is where everyone's looking, right? This guy's going to go set a pick back over here, too. So keep that in mind. So this is also what I mean by they ran their little play set, right? That didn't work. I guess they didn't see what they wanted. They didn't get the look they wanted. Didn't develop like they wanted. So essentially they have a 4 down here. A 4 down with the guy on the ISO. He's going to call for a pick. They're getting a whole nother revolution of a play call in. And again, that's maybe not the best offense, but in my opinion, that's the minimum you can do, right? This is what I mean by, I say creativity a lot, but creativity is not even necessarily the best word. Because you don't have to necessarily run a complex creative offense in order to just get some good decent offensive run and play calls in and looks. But that right there was the minimum you can do. Tried to set a couple picks on the ball, a little bit of a pick away down in the corner. It didn't really develop, I guess, the way they wanted. Maybe the Mavericks read it correctly. So then they go immediately to a 4 down, just bring the big man up for a pick and roll. And they got 2 revolutions of offense in and still maybe didn't get the best look, right? But they ran something. It's that easy. I'm telling you, man, this is what Dinwiddie needs to do. This is what I mean. He's not like a point guard, ball handler kind of guy. He's an attacker. He's a scorer. He honestly reminds me, I think I said this in one of the other videos, he reminds me of Jerry Stackhouse a little bit in terms of the mentality. Although I'd say Stackhouse's shot was probably a little more polished. And Dinwiddie's maybe like a little quicker. And Stackhouse probably had a little more hops. But his play style reminds me a lot of Jerry Stackhouse, one of my favorite players. And it needs to be shoot it or go. And I don't like him being a ball handler point guard. I don't think he's very adept at that. I think he can handle the ball, but I don't think he's a good ball handler, if that makes sense. He's not going to manufacture an offense or pick up on a tendency the defense is doing or call a play or something like that, right? Also something you notice, right? No one's calling any plays on Dallas. It's just very simple blacktop basketball, YMCA basket, not even YMCA, even the YMCA, they pick more than we do. But this is just very much like non-thinking, lazy offense.
Takes it to the basket and lays it in.
If you can get him in the half court, you're better able to deal with him showing bodies. Dinwiddie doing a good job in transition.
Now, I believe we ended up with 87 points, so Dinwiddie just scored a basket there with like 5:55 to go, 6 minutes to go, and essentially we're only going to score 2 more buckets the rest of the way, so not looking good. Let's back it up here.
And lays it in.
If you can get him in the half court, you're better able to deal with him showing bodies. Dinwiddie doing a good job in transition. Going right through.
It's just, I guess for me, it's like frustrating because look at this. Pick come in here, pick up over here. Two picks already off the ball, and he's just getting it up the floor. And what is Jason Kidd can't even like come up with this.
Through the Magic defense.
So here we go again. I like this little wrinkle they're doing here, because at first I thought maybe it was just him. Maybe Kidd's instructing guys to go over the top of picks. I don't really like that. I'm not. If you do that, you have to do it because you're literally trying to run someone like Reggie Miller, or somebody. You're trying to run Steph Curry off of the 3 option, the shot option. But in terms of these guys here, if you're not confident one of these guys is a sharpshooter, you go underneath, 90% of the time.
In transition. Going right through the.
And why I like this wrinkle so much is by giving this first pick, you're kind of forcing Bullock to come over the top a little bit. If Bullock does not come over the top of this pick here, Bullock has to run underneath, and Maxey has to come up and now play number 2 on the wing, or Powell is then going to have to switch on number 2 coming around. So that's why I like this a lot. It's almost like a double pick with the ball handler. You're forcing Reggie to come over the top, which we saw earlier causes problems because then you're chasing as a defense. You're essentially playing 4-on-5 in a way.
Magic defense.
And so Reggie's forced to come over the top. Green has to respect it. Bullock is chasing. This guy's open he's not really open from that pick, but remember they set a pick over here. But more importantly, what do you see that we have here now? Big mismatch. Bullock's now guarding the big man. Maxey's guarding the guard.
Back to Ross.
Question is, will they exploit it?
Ross against Dinwiddie. Into the middle. Left-handed scoop.
Well, that was a nice play. Let's back it up.
Back to Ross. Ross against Dinwiddie. Into the middle.
Just a good play. Then again,
Back to Ross.
I know this is a smaller lineup for us, theoretically, although we don't really have a big lineup minus McGee. But again, Bullock had to guard the big man, right? Bullock's now the one kind of guarding the paint in a way. and that's not good either. So while this was maybe just more of a good singular offensive play by this guy, again, once he beat Dinwiddie, you know, now he has to face Bullock instead of maybe someone like Maxey or Powell, right? Which would be a little better for us. Bullock needs to draw a charge there, which I know is easier said than done. Luka's back in. We're only going to score 2 more buckets. Remember that. Okay, looks like this is going to be one of the first off-ball screens I've seen. So Finney-Smith roll. He didn't get the ball. Also, one of the things that's kind of frustrating is that because Luka and Dinwiddie are so ball dominant, a lot of times even when guys flash or roll or come off a pick, the defense doesn't really even think you're going to pass them the ball even if they're open. And this is what gets me frustrated with the lack of ball movement and motion we have, is there's just no respect there from the defense. Get the ball to Finney-Smith, and there should be another pass to another pass. Or, you know what I mean? There should be something off of that. But we don't have that. So even if Finney-Smith comes wide open off of a screen, and although I know that may not be the look or what have you, the defense isn't even worried about it because they know you're not going to give them the ball, especially this early in the shot clock.
Scoring battle.
Ross missed the free throw. Still a 1-point Orlando lead, 5:39 left. Doncic is back handling the ball for Dallas.
So Powell's going to set a pick for Finney-Smith, and he's going to come set a pick for Luka. One thing I don't like we do also is this. You should be, as a point guard, right? You need to know where everyone is, right? Luka does this a lot, and so did Dinwiddie on that one play where he missed McGee for the easy dump out of the double team. Who are you threatening in this position? Nobody. You know, all they're worried about you is you off the dribble. Okay. Again, it's still sort of just a basic pick and roll, but they're throwing 2 picks at it, right? And one reason I don't like that, Powell comes with the big man, right? You get the switch. Why even tempt? Unless you think Luka's going to get the smaller guard on him and take him to the post, I probably would almost just rather him break the big man down than having to break the quicker guard down, where once Luka gets into the paint, there's probably help. So we got the first switch. Now he's got the smaller guy on him. And again, help. I mean, although that wasn't the best help, he kind of did it backwards. Still, there was help there, right? Also, Luka needs to learn how to fall. He is not a very nimble faller. I know that sounds weird to say, but there's a bit of an art to falling, and Luka ain't got it.
14 shot is 6 here. 10 days ago.
Missed the free throw. I think I saw Luka went like 3 of 9 from the free throw line. He missed both of them.
If we were in another arena, that would have been worth some French fries or a chicken sandwich somewhere.
Something it would have been. Wagner.
Sandwich somewhere.
So this is something I wish Dinwiddie. This is what I talk about in the Pelicans game when Dinwiddie got the mismatch. He needs to exploit it and attack it. So they get the switch here. Powell's now on Wagner. Wagner simply giving the threat of an attack on Powell, who I don't think Powell's going to be able to stay in front of Wagner from what I just saw. Luka's got to respect that. Easy 3. You know, and I feel like Luka, or if we were in that position, it's just sometimes an easy play call like that. You know, I'm just not sure we even would have made that right pass.
Guys at front, somebody has to be open. On the other side, you got to make plays.
So seeing Bullock start to go. This is what worries me sometimes. So Bullock's going to look like he's coming to set a pick, and then Powell's going to look like he's going to set a pick. That worries me that, like, Luka's just playing pickup basketball the whole game, right? He's just, whoever wants to come set me a pick, I'm dominating. Like, whoever wants to come, let me know. Give me the pick. Try to get me open. So look, Reggie comes. Powell's about to come, and then changes his mind, and then Powell comes. Again, Luka, I don't like this again with the back to the basket. Again, nothing. Nobody is doing anything.
Spins left, backs up, fired the 2. It's no good. Rebound Carter. 87-83. Orlando's up by 4 with
pick on the ball.
Wagner, he'll drive. He'll have it knocked away, but a foul. Should be 2 free throws.
Guess Wagner's getting Powell on him, and he's going.
Let's go back and look. Look how Dallas, they're running 2 guys. Here comes Doncic. They're really concerned with him. Nice job. They're trying to pre-rotate. But like just not.
And so, one thing about the mismatch, right? One of the things that is maybe a negative on one of the only negatives on Luka, right, is he's not very quick and fast, and which is why I would like for us to get him into the post extended, free throw line extended area a little more with the ball, with his dribble still intact, and have someone else bring the ball up the floor and get him the ball in that spot. Is that we run a lot of pick and rolls with Luka, right? And the thing is, a lot of times with the pick and roll, you need a guard, like a Dinwiddie type, who's going to come around that corner with some authority and is going to make everyone on that defense hesitate for a second and think about, do I need to go help or not? Luka kind of gets around that pick and roll, and he kind of, he's not attacking, he's getting that switch. And then he's trying, again, I keep saying sauce. That's what the kids say these days. He's trying to like sauce them up all the time, and people are just standing around, right? And I'd rather see Luka, if you're going to go to work, right? If you're going to make Luka do as much work as he is, at least let him start his work closer to the basket and with his dribble intact. Again, we're doing these pick and rolls from 30, 35 feet away, and Luka's not coming around the corner to attack. And the way Luka's kind of built is, a guard's going to get up on him immediately, and a big man's probably these days, right? A big men are pretty athletic. Luka's going to be a little quicker than them, but not so much that the big man can't sag off a little bit and get in his way. And a lot of times with a pick and roll, it really does help to have a guard aggressively coming off the pick. And, that was that one play where they got the open 3. Orlando did not too long ago, was simply because I think it was Wagner, it might have been, but he comes around the pick and is at least giving the threat that if you don't help, I'm gonna take it straight to the hole and for a dump down or an easy kick out once y'all guys collapse. And when Luka comes around picks, it's very mild. It's not aggressive. And it's one of those things, well, why are we doing it? And the only thing I can think of is you're either just trying to get him some space, which doesn't make a lot of sense. He can get space one-on-one, or you're trying to get a mismatch. And if you get the mismatch, but you just try to sauce the guy up for 5 seconds, you're not really attacking the mismatch.
Not getting there quick enough. Nice play by Franz. Franz now is
number 5. Lead. 17 points. The Magic, 89-83.
You kind of see what I mean? Like, that pick was a little far away from the switch, but this is also good D by Orlando.
Second one good. Largest lead of the game for the Magic, 89-83.
So this is the guy here that's going to be guarding Powell, right? And you see the pick is so far away. This is what I mean by even a big guy. You can sag off a little bit on Luka. Now, who is Bullock setting a pick on? I guess technically he should be setting it on this guy. And you notice how they go under the pick. Orlando's not coming over the top. And I would do that too because Luka's not an amazing three-point shooter, right? He's been a little subpar this season. He's been better the last few games, but overall, you know, you definitely go under the pick on Luka 99% of the time. So we did all of that, right, to essentially just get the same matchup. We didn't get the big man mismatch. The difference between 31 and here is essentially nil. So we did all of that, really. There's kind of a double pick there to no advantage.
To the free throw line, Reggie Bullock deflected, but Luka's got it back.
This is what I mean by just saucing them up for 5 seconds.
Trying to stay in front. Poked it away. It's out of bounds. Let's see.
Still going to be Mavs ball, but terrific job.
The tendencies of the Mavericks are really easy to pick up on because there's just not a lot of depth there.
Great hands, great effort.
And with a guy like Luka, this is what I was saying with when you set a pick and roll, a guard needs to come off of that pick and roll and attack. Luka doesn't do that, right? Like, Luka is just not that quick of a guy, theoretically. You know, of course, compared to us, he is. But NBA standards, he's not necessarily that quick. So a guard can get in front of him. And then, again, this is where I wish we would get Luka the ball more in the post, more in the free throw line, the corner free throw line, elbow area. A guard can get in front of Luka, and, you know, on the wing, Luka doesn't have much of an advantage against a smaller guard. The one thing you could say for someone like that is like, well, you should be able to shoot over him a little bit. Luka's not a great three-point shooter, you know? So the guard's going to get right up on him. Luka's not really going to be able to get around him. And while, yes, Luka could use his physicality and kind of bully ball him down to the hole a lot, again, like I was saying a second ago, I'd rather Luka start his work from within the three-point line instead of outside of it. That'd be a lot more efficient. Also, you're only 1, 2, maybe 3 dribbles away from getting to the hole. The defense has to collapse and respect that a lot more than if you start outside the three-point line and they have a second where I'm going to wait and see what Luka does, and then I can get over and help if need be.
Doncic. It's a good time. Now you got to action with players.
He plays with such charisma, such joy for the game.
When he's back, he'll take the pass home. Launch the 3 over Wendell.
Jesus Christ, man.
Then when he's back, he'll take.
I know there's 5 seconds. Again, Dinwiddie has this big man on him. Powell needs to get the hell out of the way, too. You're not going to set a pick with 5 seconds to go on the shot clock. You just need to clear out and get the board. And Dinwiddie should have took this guy off the dribble.
The pass home. Launch the 3 over Wendell. No good. Rebound Ross.
Don't like that inbounds play.
We're going to cross 4 minutes in the game with the Magic up by 6. Wagner, blue shirts chasing him.
You know, it's kind of funny too. Like, so this is a basic pick and roll, right? But even a lot of times with the Mavs, when we have guys standing around in the corner, they don't even move, right? I mean, this guy at least comes up and flashes. He's going to help the ball handler.
Blue shirts chasing him. He backs it out.
Once he gets by one,
A little switch over here. A little ball handoff screen.
Ross catches, shoots, short.
Again, not the best offense, but still more than what we do.
Climbs is on Dinwiddie. Houston on the switch. We have a foul away from the ball on Chuma Okeke.
He's trying to stay connected to Luka Doncic.
Yeah, I know. Me personally, like, I was a bit of like I guess I was slower, but I was a bit of a thicker guard, I guess you could say, a little bit. So, you know, if I was guarding me, which I would say a little bit is like Luka, I would get a small, quick guy on him 24/7, 365 all over the floor and hound him and stay in his hip pocket. That's what I would do. And this is what this guy's trying to do. And, like, it's Luka's struggling, you know?
Stepped into him, put 2 hands in his chest right in front of the official.
Because you really take Luka's dribbling away with a guy like that, and you kind of
Referee Kevin's got all of Luka's moves. This is what he's going to do. This is how he's going to get the foul.
All his tricks.
Yeah.
Back again. Fading away on the jumper. It's short.
I don't like that. You finally got the ball somewhere where I liked. I'd like him to start here with his dribble, right? He should have taken that little guy. I know if that was me, I would have taken that guy straight to the rim, and I would have put him in the 3rd row. But Luka shoots a fadeaway. He kind of bails him out.
Rebounded by Wagner. He reached in there and took it away from Cleveland. is the point man in this Magic attack.
So again, this is also something simple that we don't even do. You got the pick and roll. He's got the mismatch now with Wagner and Maxey. He doesn't hesitate. He doesn't wait. He goes and he attacks it.
Head out. Step back, launches a three. Short, Chuma with the rebound. Spinning left. He draws the foul from Doncic. Short, Chuma in there and took it away from Cleveland.
So another thing about this too. Let's watch here. Just a simple pick. People, the Mavs are having to sag just a little bit, right? Because again, like I said, when you set a pick and roll like that and you have a guard who is aggressive and at least giving the threat of a drive, you have to respect that as a defense. Finney-Smith is respecting it. Luka's sagging a little bit. And that is only to say that a lot of times when we get the ball, we kind of sit out there and sauce it up and we dribble. And no, the defense is really not having to worry about you. They know exactly where their man is. Right now, everyone on defense right now is focused on Wagner. They're not even looking at their man. And Luka the whole time is looking at this guy. Luka the whole time is looking here. Everyone's looking there, and it isn't until this second right here that people find their man. In the NBA with athletic guys, you know, if you're kind of not already getting a butt on someone as soon as a shot goes up, you might be a step behind already. I mean, you probably should be able to recover, but again, Luka doesn't know. Luka has no idea where his man is. From this moment on, he does not look at his man. He does not look at him one more time. That's not how you rebound, baby. That you don't watch the ball. You go get a butt on somebody. You go get a butt on your man. You know where he is. I don't care if you have to box him out. I don't care if you have to box him out here at the A on the Amway or whatever logo this is, and you put him into the stands. You go get a butt on him and you find him. Instead, again, everyone's worried about Wagner attacking Maxey, which they have to respect. Luka has no idea where his man is. No idea. You could call that bad timing, like Luka was kind of there or whatnot, but if Luka simply closed that space and got a butt on his man, he would have got that rebound, no questions asked, which is the proper way to rebound.
7-point lead to play in Dallas. Wagner done a little bit of it to be done. Out of 25.
I would hound Luka full court too. This is one of those things where someone should help him. Someone else should bring the ball up and let's get Luka in a spot.
Ross trying to deny the pass.
Bullock was just coming up to set a screen.
Yeah, it was kind of weak.
With Doncic, he's got 4 shooters out there, and Dinwiddie, Bullock.
All right, a little bit of a down screen here for Bullock, who's going to come set a screen for Luka.
Bullock sets the screen and gets it back. Doncic again.
Just another screen. This is just horrible offense, man.
Trying to get it, and a clock violation on Dallas.
So frustrating to watch.
Did not hit the rim. The ball. 24-second.
Screen away. Orlando has already set more off-ball screens in this fourth quarter than I've seen the Mavs set the whole season.
Violation.
This is exactly what I'm talking about a second ago. Setting a pick and roll doesn't really do you much good if there's no threat of actually using it, right? Notice how 31 comes off this pick. Again, not the best offense, but that's how you should use a pick and roll. If you're gonna set a pick and make the defense switch, there is that little window there that you have to attack to see if something is there. Maybe the defense does recover. It looks like we had a decent recovery. But again, if you don't even attack it at all, that window quickly closes.
Is no good. Rebound Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie comes up the right side.
No movement, no offense, one-on-one ISO, help comes. We get the foul call.
He says he hit the rim. Did he get it, David?
Oh, he did hit the rim. Doesn't matter. It's still horrible offense. You don't deserve the ball.
Oh boy.
10-5.
Make up for missing the.
Looks like this guy. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I thought he was calling for something.
Wagner using some clock.
I never liked that either.
Wagner.
Sometimes they run like, I guess I kind of call it a stationary pick, where this guy's really just going to set up somewhere and let the point guard come off and use him. I've never really liked that. I think it's kind of easier for the defense to recover or play off of or predict. And instead of kind of you predicting or dictating the space and the spot, the defense can kind of react to what you're doing a little better.
Using some clock. Finney Smith is on it. Franz will accelerate into the middle, spin back to the left, falling away, jumper.
It's just good one-on-one offense.
At the Dallas bench as he backpedals
Good
down
good
the floor.
defense, you know, not necessarily creative offense either.
Magic lead back to 7. Doncic sets up Dinwiddie for 3. No, back to 7.
Boogie.
Now, this is the off-ball I was talking about with Luka that I wish we would do more of, right?
Using some clock. Accelerate into the middle, spin back to the left, falling away, jumper.
Looked like a Dirk fadeaway a little bit there.
The Dallas bench as he
Luka's off-ball, right? I'd like to see us do this a little more.
backpedals down the floor.
Franz Boogie two in the dark.
Pick away. It's one of the few I've seen. Luka gets it. And Luka is going to attack the pick and roll. Attack off the edge of the pick and roll. Make them think. Make them respect the threat of the drive.
Magic lead back to
Again,
Franz Boogie two in the
I
dark.
think 31 comes over the top here. Number 3 comes over the top. So go. You have to go.
back to 7.
And look, simply, I mean, this is how easy it is to just create something. I mean, it's not that hard. So much of our offense, so we can't even do this basic amount. You got Bullock and what Dinwiddie's going to get the ball here wide open. All because Luka's off ball. We set a pick away for Luka. This is what I wish they would do this more for AI when he was coming up too. You know, he doesn't, just because he's your best player doesn't mean he has to bring the ball up every time. Get Luka somewhere in a spot. The pick away comes to Luka. Luka catches it, gets another pick, and attacks the pick and roll immediately off the edge. And I mean, do you understand? Simply by Luka coming off the edge and attacking, look how much the defense has collapsed. Look at this. And it really took no really big brain, high IQ play. Look how much they are collapsing on Luka. Secondly, I just thought of this too, is that with Luka off the ball, right? Now the defense really is having to pay attention to the ball, and they have to pay attention to Luka. You know that Luka's in their head, obviously. Luka's always going to be on a defense's mind. That he's going to be in the back of their head all the time. So by doing that, you notice when we come up,
Dallas bench as he backpedals down the floor.
this guy's looking and peeking over at Luka. This guy is peeking over at Luka.
Franz Boogie two in the dark.
Look at, I mean, you see the attention Luka is getting almost in a weird way by having Luka off the ball. It's spreading out what the defense has to pay attention to. 31 once he turned and looked at Luka, he hasn't looked back at the ball yet. That's kind of a, you know, that tells you how much respect Luka gets from the defense.
Magic lead back to 7. Doncic sets up Dinwiddie for 3. No good. 7. Doncic.
I would have liked to seen one more pass here to Maxey. I know Dinwiddie's been hot, and tonight he was hot, but I think Maxey overall is probably a better shooter over the long term. Maxey should have got the ball here.
Sets up Dinwiddie for 3. No good. Rebounded by Carter. Wrestles it away from Doncic. 1:45 left. Magic lead by 7 with the ball. Terrence Ross handling it against Bullock. Ross double team. Carter.
This is what I was talking about with the double team. That was a great example of how you beat a double team. Even though this isn't a double team, but just for the spacing purposes, this is how a double team would largely work on Luka. Again, middle of the floor. This is where the pick and roll should happen, not in the corner, not up against the half court line where you can't go backwards. You know, not against the sideline where they can use it as another defender. Middle of the floor, you have your options. You attack coming off the pick. Maxey has to respect it. For all intents and purposes, this is what a double team would look like on Luka, which we've seen several times from almost everyone we've played, as they should, because Luka's obviously one of, if not only, our offensive threat, right? This is what that double team would largely look like, or how I would like to see us attack it, in terms of where we set the pick and roll and then what we do to defeat it. Right here is where we should be getting the ball. And he does the right thing. You get the ball in the middle. Your immediate look should be at that rim, and you're essentially telling Bullock, what do you want to do? Again, or is that Finney Smith? That's Finney Smith. He's going to kind of, when he catches this, he kind of goes to the rim, right? A little bit. Like, I mean, it may not look like much, but you see, he sees the ball coming. He takes that kind of little extra crow hop to where he's going to get even a little deeper into the paint. Finney has to come up to him. Finney has to take this away, obviously, or it's a dunk. I mean, look at that, man. Again, missed shots are missed shots, right? Like, if you have good shooters and whatnot, those will start to fall. But that's a wide open look. I could have hit that. See, you see where I don't know if Kid does this because Luka likes that spot for the three, so he's thinking he'll let Luka work in this area. But this is just horrible spacing by setting a pick over here. I don't understand this, and this is where we set the vast majority of our picks. And again, you're getting Luka up against the sideline. This pass to the corner is not as easy as it looks. Nobody is, if we're going to keep a guy here in the corner, right? Bullock already looks like he's had enough. If we keep a guy here in the corner, right, that pass is not going to be made. It's just dead weight, essentially. I know it's for spacing, but someone needs to come and flash to the middle here. Sorry. Someone someone needs to come and flash to the middle, or Dinwiddie should already be coming around to maybe set another pick or to get the ball.
Great job on him. Now Carter on the switch. Luka drives, missed the shot. Carter gets the rebound. Well, he's still on.
Luka is horrible at falling. I said that, I know it sounds weird, but falling is an art form.
5 on 4. Now he's back defensively. Franz setting it up with a shot clock.
Again, Magic do what I was kind of saying in the Toronto video, and also in Brooklyn a little bit when we got up. I just call it the Utah Jazz way of playing in the fourth. Is they're going to take their time. They're the ones who are up now. They're going to milk all 24 seconds.
10:105 to play. Wagner to Carter. And foul on Doncic.
That's a horrible foul. Luka's got to know there's only 3 seconds on the shot clock.
To Carter.
And he looks like he's kind of frustrated, and he's essentially kind of purposely fouling him here.
And foul on Doncic. Leaning into Franz Wagner. That'll put Franz at the line. 10:105 to play.
I kind of like this coming from the backside, but I think Wagner still sees him.
Wagner to Carter.
Man, Luka really this is like fouling a jump shooter. Luka really bailed them out here. 3 seconds to go, 2.5, 3 seconds to go on the shot clock, and he fouls him out of frustration. It's just a bonehead play, man.
Frustration. He's played big minutes. Academy Sports the gear you need in their biggest lead. 9 points, 94-85 with
what was it, like 650 or 655, and we've only scored 1 bucket since then. We're going to score 1 more somewhere here.
Over a man into the was a bit is a 9th lead. Got to be smart. Finishing in this one. Still
all right. What does Kid have drawn up, right? A minute to go in the fourth. You would think he probably has some play up his sleeve or something, right? Probably not, though.
Now Doncic driving to his left. Okeke stays with him, but Doncic puts it in.
Good job by Chuma not to foul there.
We'll need a three-point note. Ross escapes. Terrence gets it back, double team to Okeke. He fires it to Franz. Magic using some clock. Shot clock at 10. Okeke is fouled by Bullock.
And that's the game right there. I think that's the final score.
Evan. Caro pick on Doncic.
Does he miss both? He does. Let's see what we run for the last play. Probably not much, just trying to get a shot up.
Step back three over Wendell. Way off. Rebound, Terrence Ross.
So that's it, man. So yeah, that's me breaking it down. Hopefully the Toronto this one will probably get blocked too, so hopefully the Toronto one gets released soon, but just Kid, I'm losing faith in Kid very quickly. I just don't think he's a good coach, play calling, getting guys set up, running revolutions, having certain things ready to go, reacting to the defense. I just am not seeing very much, and you know, I know I had that video, the last one, where I said relax. People, you know, we lost and we shouldn't worry about it, but I'm getting a little concerned, not because this isn't a good team, but because Kid is not getting anything going. This is his job. This is his job to do. And I'm a little baffled, to be honest, at how bad our offensive schemes are, and play calling and situations and awareness and creativity and motion and all kinds of things. It really, I mean, I'm almost at a loss of words, if I can be honest. I mean, I'm obviously frustrated because the Mavs lost this game, and we've probably are deserving of losing a few more that we pulled out, and we lost to the Wizards, a shorthanded Wizards team tonight. I'm the thing is like, these are very basic things, and it'd be one thing if it was one game and then I saw some changes coming out the next game. I can't remember what game it was, but it might have been the Toronto game or maybe the game before, but I had kind of mentioned some of the things in the first film room that I did. I think that was against New Orleans. And then the next game, you know, they got Luka on the post. They got Luka moving around without the ball. They got him in spots. I saw a little bit of, you know, creativity in terms of the motion from the guys who were off the ball for just like a half or maybe even a quarter, and then it stopped, and I haven't seen it since. And so I guess I'm worried because these are the most basic, most simple adjustments and things you can do, and I'm almost a little fearful because I think Kid is just hoping to ride Luka to stardom or to a winning season. And again, last year, so many people are riding high on Jason Kidd simply because Luka literally took us to the Western Conference Finals, you know, off of no really, I'm not sure what Kidd did other than just tell Luka to ball out, you know. And it's just another thing too is in those games we won in the playoffs, we hit threes, and I know the threes will come. The threes will come back around for the Mavs at some point. But again, when it comes to a tight game, a close game, a certain situation at the end of a quarter or the end of the game, calling something, getting other guys going, reacting to what the defense is doing and exposing them on those things, I'm just not seeing anything from Kid. I mean, a high school coach, to be honest with you, we ran more complex things in high school. And I know we didn't have Luka on our team, right? But even then, like, you should at some point understand you are riding Luka into the ground with this kind of, you know, usage and play calling. And it's just nothing more than the fact that the defense is going to pick up on it. This is the James Harden dilemma. You know, James Harden is going to shoot a step back three or go hard to the hole. There's really nothing else out after that. And, you know, especially in the playoffs, teams are going to pick up on that. They're going to draw up schemes to go around that. And if you as a coach cannot alleviate some of that pressure or come up with some kind of creative play calling, you're in for a short series and an early playoff exit or no playoffs at all if this doesn't change. So I'll probably do a video on the Wizards game as well, and hopefully that Toronto video gets blocked. This one probably will too, but that's it for this one.